Good afternoon and welcome once again to the ETBU Sportsnet as we have our weekly broadcasts of ETBU Sports Extra. Hello, I'm Mike Midkiff. I want to say thank you to Adam Ledyard, Sports Information Director, for filling in with me last Wednesday during the show. I was involved in the KSLA ETBU Holiday Food Drive that was held, a collection point was right in front of ETBU's Marshall Hall. And over a ton of canned goods were donated during the food drive last Wednesday by the ETB community, the Marshall community, and that food is already on the shelves at the United Churches of Marshall Food Pantry at Mission Marshall. Today on the show, we're going to talk ETBU Tiger basketball, Lady Tiger basketball, and also visit with the new men's soccer coach here at ETBU, Chris Crawford. Our first guest on the show today is Bert West, the head basketball coach of East Texas Baptist University. And if you've ever seen the show, Coach sometimes has some crazy answers to questions that I ask, and I've got one. My first question on the bat, Coach, is we're in the Christmas season. Have you bought my Christmas present yet?
No.
Okay, that's all I needed to know from Bert, because he'll get around to it. Right now he's busy playing basketball. Well, he's not playing, his team is. And Coach, let's go and talk about your Tiger basketball team. Right now, you had your first conference win playing Hardin-Simmons this past Saturday at Ornelas, and that was an interesting game from the standpoint that you won 90-75, but at halftime you were down by 2 points. What did you tell the team? Well, first, let's go back before halftime. You had a nice little run that pulled you within two.
I told them to catch up, and they almost did.
And a lot of threes were made during that time. Was that the game plan, to get people open to hit the threes going into halftime?
Well, we've got a lot of confidence in our three-point shooters, but the game plan is always to attack inside first. And when people guard the inside well enough, then the outside shots will be there. And so we got confidence in inside and outside game. And our players struggled a little bit. They were playing a funky little zone that I was trying to attack one way, and we weren't having very much success. So when I did what the players wanted to do, we did a lot better.
So at halftime, you go in down by 2 to Hardin-Simmons, and then you come out at the start of the second half, and wow, was the two-handed dunk by Jamil Samuel for the first 2 points in the second half, was that a design play or just happened that way?
No, that was Horace Mitchell. That was Junior making a great read, and it came right off of offense, and there came a point where Jamil was supposed to float back out toward the wing, and he did, and they had eye contact, and he went right back to the basket and was temporarily unguarded, and Junior laid a beautiful pass up there for him. And that was old teammates that played together, that's reading each other. It
was beautiful to call on the ETB Sportsnet that day. Looked to me, of course, I'm just a basketball announcer, looked to me it was a design play off the tip, but as you said, they played together before. Junior knew that Jamil would be sitting there under the basket waiting for his pass, and wow. And that little spurt right there, was that kind of like a momentum change for your team with that dunk starting the second half?
Well, certainly, but the momentum had already changed. Our guys had seized the momentum before we went in at halftime, and I thought last year's team was great, and I don't like to compare teams, but this team is moving very favorably into the same mindset, and so they're pretty much unfazed on what the score is. They're just, grinding away, and sometimes it looks better than just grinding, but that was a design play after the dunk, because that was that inside look off the fast break, and they just found him right quick and made it look good. But these guys, they're ready to go. Yesterday, I was the most excited in practice that I've been all year, and I didn't know why. I was more excited than they were, and then I realized that Mr. Ledyard and I had an interview right before, and I had just got through talking about them, and talking about them makes me excited, and it makes for a good practice. So if we could, we need to interview every time right before practice, right before games, and it helps me.
Now, we mentioned Junior Mitchell. He played his high school basketball right here in Marshall, Texas for the Tigers. One thing I like about your team is that you teach teamwork all the way around. But it seems like because of teamwork, a player will rise to the top, and it's not always the same player every game. I noticed, looking at the stats from the Hardin-Simmons win on Saturday, Junior Mitchell had 24 points in the game to lead Tiger scoring, but 17 of those came in the second half. He was the spark, I would say, you needed in that second half, his leadership out there on the court.
Well, when a team works together and they each do their job, sometimes it rolls around. It's your job to score, and I think they're learning the lesson that every shot they take, every score, it's not their shot, it's our shot, and that's the way they play, and it makes them look awfully good sometimes.
Talking about that game, continue against Hardin-Simmons. Dylan Augustine with 17 points for the Tigers. Eric Horton, 15 points, 2 rebounds. Jamil Samuel, who we normally talk about being high-point man, he only had 8 points in that game. That's why I kind of mentioned how it's just a team effort. There always seems to be one player or two players that rise to the top for the Tigers when they have a victory. Well, you beat Hardin-Simmons by a final score of 90-75 to move your conference record to 1-0. But let's go back a game as you hosted McMurray, who is now in the American Southwest Conference, but playing a provisional schedule as they transition from NCAA D2 to D3. You win that ball game 105-91, and I told you either the next day or after the game, I said, wow, that's the first time I've seen 100 points on the board at ETBU by a Tiger basketball team, and your comment to me was, yeah, but we allowed 91.
Well, we had to keep the pedal to the metal. The guys never let off the accelerator. They just kept pushing and playing and shooting well, passing well. McMurray, we didn't do a good job of stopping them. I don't think our defense was that poor. We just didn't do a good job of stopping them, and they hit shots. They hit a lot of shots that were defended, and fortunately we had enough firepower to just keep on playing, and you know, you win games in a different manner, and that one was we did the best we could defensively, and they won it with their teamwork and offense.
In that McMurray game, scoring kind of spread out all around. Jamil Samuel 24, Dylan Augustine with 21, Wilbert Thomas with 14, Isaiah Thomas with 12, Jordan Quinlan off the bench with 11. But I noticed the team shot 51.7% from the field. That's an amazing feat, isn't it?
Well, actually, that's our goal, to shoot over 50% every game. I think we have those kind of shooters, but sometimes, you know, you always got to give the other team credit. And everything is so even. There's no game that you can really predetermine, well, we're going to win this game. There's just not one. But on the other hand, there's not a game that we don't believe we can win. And so that kind of goes into all of that. But, again, we go back to everybody doing their job. When everybody does their job, just the way it falls, that's who's going to be the leading scorer that night.
With the wins over McMurray and Hardin-Simmons last week, the Tigers now 5-1 on the season, 1-0 in American Southwest Conference play. When you lost to TLU, you dropped out of the top 25 rankings by D3Hoops.com. But this week, you're back in at 22. What does that mean to get ranked again as a team?
You know, I found that interesting. I really didn't know if they would ever put us back in the poll again this season. So, again, it shows that the nationwide voters have confidence and respect, you know, for our program, and that's certainly a good thing. That's not one of the things that we ever talk about. It's never on my mind. So when I see it, I'm like, oh, that's nice, because it's just not discussed. We're absolutely attempting to focus on getting better every day, and that's just the way we try to do our business.
All right, let's talk about what's ahead for the Tigers this week. Tomorrow night, the Tigers at home in Ornelas Gymnasium. You can hear the broadcast of the game at goettigers.com on the ETB Sportsnet. You host Louisiana College, who has a new coach. Gene Rushing retired after, well, many, many years, and great run for him, of course, at LC. He also played basketball at LC. Have a new coach in the name of Rennie Mason. So they have a different offense now, or what have your scouting reports said about the Louisiana College Wildcats coming to the gym tomorrow night?
They are different. Their offense is different. They used to run a lot of set plays, but they're the same people. And this game, if I wasn't working the game, I would pay to watch this game. This is going to be a fierce battle. We have a tremendous rivalry, and right now we have something that they want, and they're going to try to take it. And I would pay to see this game. It's going to be worth the price of admission. This is going to be a tremendous college basketball game.
Louisiana College comes into Ornelas tomorrow night with a 1-1 conference record. But what really is surprising on their schedule, they beat McNeese State, which is a D1 school. That kind of surprised me, and I texted that score to you because you were on the road at the time, and you were kind of surprised at that as well. Or were you surprised at that score?
Well, it's always surprising, but I think 3 times this year a Division III school has beat a Division I school. So we've done it 3 times. McNeese State, you have to go to their place, and it's a difficult thing to do. That's quite a challenge, and then they played Northwestern State right to the finish line. Northwestern State, also in McNeese's conference, another Division I school, beat them 6 points, and it was a lot closer than that. And I actually was keeping up with that game as it was being played. So that shows the talent level that LC's coming in with. They are maybe the most just out-and-out talented team in the conference.
As you said, if you wouldn't coach in the game, you'd pay to see this game tomorrow night. Final thoughts about your opponent, Louisiana College. What will it take for your team to come away with another victory in Ornelas?
Well, I think one of the keys to the game will be defending them the best we can. They're going to score some anyway. They're going to score a lot anyway. And there was a time a couple of years ago they lit us up in our own building. We just could not stop them. So our defense has got to be on point, and we've got to really rebound. They've got some high flyers on that team. They got a kid that's a senior that's preseason All-American. He was Player of the Year last year in the conference. He's just a tremendous athlete. And I guess all other returners. And so they've got a little grit in their craw, wanting to come on and have success like we did last year. So it'll be about our defense and our rebounding. And our offense has been pretty consistent. We just need to continue to improve in that area.
Well, Coach West, thank you for your time today on ETB Extra. And you work on my Christmas present before 25th.
I'm headed that way right now.
All right, thank you. Always a pleasure to visit with Coach Bert West here on ETB Extra. As I said, the Tigers host Louisiana College tomorrow night at Ornelas Gym. Tip-off at 7:30 after the ladies' game. You can hear the game right here at goetbtigers.com on the ETB Sports Net. Don't go away, because coming up next on ETB Extra, as we broadcast live from the Huffman Student Activities area inside the Ornelas Student Center, we're going to talk Lady Tiger basketball with one of the players, Delia Hopkins. She's next on ETB Extra.